Hey guys, thanks for hitting play to see what the Lady J says. I'm, of course, Lady J, here to run my mouth about one of my favorite topics, promos, because we got tons of them this week between Battleground, Raw, and Main Event. One of the biggest surprises that I got in terms of promos this week was on Monday Night Raw when Xavier Woods came out and cut an awesome promo after Big E and Kofi Kingston faced Ryback. I had no idea that Xavier Woods had that kind of power inside of him. He was amazing to watch. He really drew me in. He held my attention for the entire time that he was on the screen, and it definitely set a lot of things into motion. Tons of people are now talking about this new nation of domination. And when they appeared on Main Event facing Slater Gator, he was where my attention was. I was watching him call out to Kofi and to Big E, and he had so much energy during the match, even though he wasn't even in the ring. And I think that's what makes a great manager. You have to know when to draw attention and when to keep the attention on your wrestlers, and how to keep the storyline moving even when you don't have a microphone in your hand. And I think Xavier really hit all of those key points. I would really like to see where they're going to take his character and where they're going to give him opportunities in the future. Because as we know from the Shield, stables don't stick around forever. So I hope they give him an opportunity to develop this new talent, but also give him a place to take it when Big E and Kofi want to go off and do other things in the future. So here's hoping that Xavier Woods is learning a lot about cutting a great promo, and he's going to flex those muscles for us on TV, and that we're going to fall in love with him as a manager, and that hopefully he'll keep going in the future. Someone else who's cutting pretty decent promos right now is someone that I have been a big critic of lately. That's Lana. I know a lot of you hear me talk about her performance value and her stage fright problems all the time. I get a lot of feedback from that all the time. I think she's a great character. Lana and Rusev together are fantastic, and it makes for excellent television week in and week out. However, I'm still not getting quite the performance level that I want from her, because Rusev is so great and their storyline is so great that I just want her as a manager to kind of meet that level. She's still doing some awkward things with her arms where she presents him several times at the end because I feel like she doesn't know how to just stand still. She's still learning how to do that. It's hard to be the center of attention and not know what to do with your body, but it will come to her. They're still technically a fairly new pair in the WWE, and so watching other people is going to help her get to that next level. I know it sounds like I'm nitpicking, and I am nitpicking, but I want them to be so amazing that I need her to take it to that next level for me as a fan to really buy into the character. She's definitely getting better at controlling the crowd. She doesn't drop lines and stumble so much when they get really loud, but she's still coming into her own in terms of being able to freestyle on the mic. It's clear that a lot of her dialogue is scripted for her, and if that's what she needs, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But she needs to be a little more comfortable in the way that she says her lines. And I'm sure that probably has to do with delivering them with an accent, which is never easy. And I give her a lot of credit for doing it. But she's definitely getting better, and I hope that she's learning from those around her and trying to push herself to get to that next level so that I can fall in love with her as a fan. If she wants someone to look at in terms of female villains, there isn't anyone better in the business than Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon, week in and week out, is giving us the kind of villain that we have been missing since her father faced Steve Austin in the Attitude Era. Stephanie McMahon is definitely a very different villain than her father was, because she's not facing opponents in terms of faces like Steve Austin was when he was a babyface. So I think really developing a character that is multifaceted is what makes Stephanie McMahon such a great villain. The perfect example is what we saw on Monday Night Raw. When she came out just before Nikki Bella's handicap match, she was toying with Brie the way a cat toys with a mouse before they devour it. She was sarcastic, she was snide, she had a lot of attitude, and that makes her easy to hate. It also makes for great TV. She, really hit all of her lines. It was great the way that her and Brie went back and forth, and then eventually she hit Brie, which of course is what brought us to the second part of Stephanie getting arrested. And once that happened, we really got to see the flip side of Stephanie's character, which is this sort of sniveling, pathetic character who doesn't want to go to jail, and she was crying. And of course, it's easy to say, like, yeah, goodbye, we want you to go to jail. But at the same time, it gives us a bigger picture of who the Stephanie McMahon character is. Because maybe a different heel would have just said, like, sure, fine, take me to jail, I don't care. But that's not who the Stephanie McMahon character is. And that's what makes her really interesting, because she does have different levels to her character. So if anybody out there who is a manager is looking for an example of how to develop a deeper character, Stephanie McMahon is a really great place to start. If you're looking for an example of how to deliver key promos that are going to hold people's attention, there's nobody better in the business right now than Paul Heyman. I'm sure there are people out there who don't like Paul Heyman. I don't know any of them. I can't imagine why you don't like Paul Heyman. I mean, as a character, of course, everybody's supposed to hate Paul Heyman. But in terms of his performance level, he's the man. There's nobody who does it better than him. The way that he marries language, really great language, lines that really roll off the tongue, like the malpracticing doctor of thugonomics who's about to get the beating of a lifetime. That's a beautiful line, whether you're into wrestling or poetry. And he marries that sort of language with really violent imagery, which is so perfect for his client, Brock Lesnar. And that development of promos is really what I think a lot of people in the WWE are missing. They're just delivering lines. They don't understand how great dialogue works, and Paul really does. When he gets on the mic and says, I don't spit hype or hyperbole, I use historical facts and shove my point down your throat, that's the perfect marriage of what he does best and what Brock does best. And that entire promo that he cut on John Cena was genius from start to finish. There was nothing about it I would have changed, and I've watched it like 5 times since Monday night, and every time I think to myself, man, I wish I was that good. So for those people like Xavier Woods and Lana who are coming up in the WWE, who are working on their promo work, these are 2 people who can really help bring you to the next level. You need a Stephanie McMahon kind of character that has different layers to it, but you also need to be able to get on the mic and hold everyone's attention like Paul Heyman does. When Paul gets in the ring, everything else stops. Everyone is paying attention to what he has to say. Not just because he's in the middle of the room, but because his promos are that commanding. And that's what makes a great stickman. There's nothing better than when somebody's words just move you. Whether it's to jump up and down and scream because you love them, or jump up and down and scream because you hate them. But nobody nothings Paul Heyman. So I love what Paul's doing. I love what Steph is doing. I hope for a lot more from Lana. I think that she can do it. I just need her to get there. And I'm very excited to see what Xavier Woods has to offer us in the future. So that's what Lady J has to say about promos. I hope you tune in for more information on what the Lady J says.